Hi, Phyu Lin, wonderful to be able to speak to you as part of the Silverman Endowment series on OD conflict resolution and healing. Thank you for making time to
Thank
speak to
you.
us. Firstly, could you tell us a little bit about you're from Myanmar and you're part of the Samshin University PhD program, but could you tell us a little bit about your work, what your work focuses on?
Currently, I am individual independent consultant for gender equality and peace process. Last 5 years ago, I worked as a part-time national advisor for Alliance for Gender Inclusion in the Myanmar peace process. Because in Myanmar peace process, both the military and the ethnic armed group, the political party, all the key stakeholders only concerned with those who hold arm and they do not need to think about gender. Uh, that's why the women rights group and the peace concern group network organization, they form alliance and to show the collective voices to key stakeholders. So as a gender practitioner, I have to provide the technical advice on organization strategy, organization principle and procedure, and also to change the people mindset. I know it is a long way to go. Peace process itself is very complicated, and head on it, gender equality in the peace process, gender inclusion in the peace process is really, really tough. And the leader, especially macho leader, male leader, they just joke at us. Nah, your issue will come later. And I ask back to them, if a woman rights violation will come later, your peace agreement will never last long.
Mm,
So
mm,
since from the beginning, your negotiation and your agreement should include all the diverse perspectives. And now you might know starting from the 1st February 2021 is the military cop.
mm.
So uh, now here again, the gender equality and all inclusive will left behind.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's we had been planning to speak to you for a little while, but it just happens to be in this very big moment, obviously, in terms of the peace process. And yeah, I mean, as you're saying, it's very interesting if you think about how the involvement of women and the inclusion of women might allow something to be sustainable or endure or be more embedded, and obviously who's at the table in the process, but also how it's playing out across the whole country. And I think as the global community, I think a lot of lessons for us as well in terms of not taking for granted the whether it's an established democracy or a new democracy, not taking these processes for granted and the role of women and gender equality in the process. So very interesting time to be talking to you. Um, can you share a little bit about your journey? What in your life brought you to focusing on this area of work, and choosing to do it through the field of both OD and as an
Mhm.
activist as well? What journey led you here?
Yeah, my father is Kachin and my mom is An. So I am from a ethnic group and where there is a serious conflict till conflict is ongoing. So I simply want peace. So and peace and just it. Peace without justice cannot mean peace. To get strong commitment, and we need organization commitment as uh,
Mm,
without having organization mandate, none of uh, organization leader is they will volunteer to do it. So here again, the organization vision, mission, the strategy, and also the analysis, and also the people capacity working in the organization, their understanding on gender equality and can contribute to organization development. That's why because of my academic background on gender equality, and when I am studying uh, OD, I try to link those two concepts.
In your experience of actually working, you can weave those two together. That's I think so important, hey? And um, I mean, obviously now you're a PhD student and you're an activist. How do you find um, these different ways of approaching? So obviously you know you're trying to think about it, but you're trying to act about it as well. How do those two things work together for you? The theory, the practice, your different roles. How do those come together for you?
The literature review part, when we have to study in the research methodology, and the literature review part, and turn the theoretical framework into our own conceptual framework is really helpful. And when I have to advise to the kind of women rights movement, or to change advocacy law procedure, and the policy, to change the policy, we need to prove the evidence. And so this research findings set the
Hmm.
evidence, research-based evidence, and that is, I think, that can help uh, me and also other PhD students to apply in their own work.
Hmm. Um, Very interesting. And what do you think about? Obviously, Myanmar has gone through significant level of change in the last um, at least the last decade, but I'm sure, as you're saying,
I,
there's been, yes.
yeah.
So, but as you're saying, there's been a lot of processes to try and bring peace for much
Mm.
longer than that. But also, there's a lot of time now of uncertainty, and there's obviously a global crisis happening at the moment. How do you find? Are you finding what OD tools, which obviously change is kind of central to the process of OD, but it's also often people are assuming almost you're getting to some point where things will stabilize, and at the moment it often feels like there's no stability on the other side. It's like a constant change process, and yet there are people who are resistant, always people who are resistant to the change and the direction of the change. So in this very challenging time that we're living in, but where also all this uncertainty can maybe sometimes help a change that needs to happen come through. Um, what are you finding useful about the tools of OD and the tools of conflict resolution, the tools
Mm.
of activism? What's particularly useful to you now in this time?
The change management, diversity management, and it's really helpful. Some people are restless because they don't know how to change, and they don't know the result of the benefit of change. So, as a OD PhD student and also kind of OD practitioner, we can show not too afraid of making changes, and even we can challenge the military and the soldier. If you change, we do not hate the people, we do not hate the person. What we want to fight is the injustice system. So if they know the benefit of changing, if their attitude change, the whole practice and the system can be changed. Then that change management and also accept the diversity. In the past, what we did is, okay, those are military guys, those are the government officers. We are civil society, and we make partition. But if we know well about diversity, we value the diversity, and we respect their role. And their role and responsibility is to have the accountability and not, how can I call, to show the power over to use the positive uh, energy and power, and that can make really change. And the OT always talk about the strategy, the system, and also people. So that kind of thing is it is very useful, because I when before I study my gender and development, I study Master of Business Administration, and we also it is also, everything is linked, and the our as an activist, we have to find an advocacy strategy. Advocacy strategy is, actually we can use a lot of marketing strategy
Yeah,
to
very
to get
interesting.
to
Um,
get buy in from the
mm.
key decision maker. So we have to sell our product.
Your
Product
product
doesn't
of
mean the
gender
good. Uh,
diversity.
yes, we have to sell our idea, and we have to sell our international norms, international standard, to respect the human rights, to respect human woman rights. So it's, I think we can think.
And when you were talking about accountability and various other and respect for you, in terms of how you do your work, what and there may be different ways of answering this question, whether it's about how your way of being or your values. What do you think you bring in terms of being you, or the values that you bring to your work that helps you to be effective in your work, or
Mm.
to help bring the change?
Yeah, we always remind each other what the talk. So if we don't like injustice things, don't do, and don't support injustice things. That's why we stand with the people. We stand with those who is now doing save a disobedient move, and so it is, they try to stand up, and we have to. Now I am currently individually participate in uh, previous, not previous, elected government uh, national mechanism. uh, on We have the Myanmar National Women Committee, comprises of the government and also development organization, non-government organization. But now I suspend participate in that mechanism. We participate and support only when our elected government is back. As long as there is the military control over the power, we won't want it.
Hmm. And that was also, as you were talking, I was thinking, if you your experience in Myanmar, if you had to um, share something particularly with other countries who, I think a lot of countries in the world now are questioning how fragile democracy is, or how fragile the process of us respecting each other, and our difference of opinion, and people who may think very, very differently from each other. How do we still find ways to work together in the interests of everyone having a better life? I mean, what lessons do you think other countries and other practitioners around the world can learn from the experience that you're having in Myanmar at the moment, or your direct experience around working on gender equality and justice in Myanmar?
Mhm. At this moment, there are a lot of how can I call, different category, like the government staff and people, and now we united every night at 8 p.m. we sing a song and also we make noises, and that is the unity is strength. So we hope that the world is listening our voices and recognizing our unity and our spirit. And if you please uh, support us in spirit. And this morning, I'm so glad the UN Security Council is declared the statement to release uh, the, the state councilor and the president immediately. But I would like to say that releasing statement only is not enough. Like OD, now I am right preparing for my dissertation. Oh, theoretical framework only is not enough. Conceptual framework is not enough. We have to have the action, action results framework. We need intervention. We are also trying our best to turn the right path with various intervention, and we do hope the international community will also do think about the effective intervention.
Thank you. And if you had to think about other people around the world who, like you, are working to bring OD values, OD tools and practices into the space of peace building, justice, healing. Um, what words of inspiration, and maybe they're feeling tired or they're feeling depleted or frustrated, um, what words might you want to share with them? Any other words that you may want to share with them?
Although the system is fragile and the strategy is fake, but if you still have the inspiring spirit in yourself, you can make change. And that's at this moment, and I feel like that because we don't know what will happen, what kind of system is now going to in place, and what kind of administrative uh, system is will be. And but if you know, if your heart is committed for equality and justice, and your spirit will lead your way. So I think it can lighten the load, and also it can brighten our future, and it can develop the institution. We can see transformation, transformative change, but it will take time. Then we need to, how can I go, like the can always.
Thank you so much for talking with us, Phyu Lin. It's been a delight to talk to you, and I really wish you and all your colleagues and all the best in continuing to build the peace process. And our thoughts are with you, and wishing you strength in this
Thank
in the
you.
journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you.